Hi, it's Rachel back for another episode of Yarn Equals Joy. It is August 14th. You can find me as Rachely Book Girl on Instagram and Rachely on Rav. And this is the Yarn Equals Joy podcast, episode 27. Oh my goodness. So I don't know how today is going to go. I may sound a little raspy and a little coffee, and I apologize for that. So I'll put the life chat news first. I did go to my son's wedding, and it was beautiful and fabulous and interesting and joyful and all sorts of emotions. And I did wear the shawl, and I finished the shawl, and I will show you the wedding shawl. But several of us, even though we were all fully vaccinated, got COVID. We found out when we got home, and I had a lot of symptoms. My niece also had symptoms. I lost taste and smell. I had body aches and cough and all sorts of things that I didn't think I could possibly have being vaccinated. So this is my little public service announcement. I still have lingering shortness of breath, and I really want to remind everyone, if you haven't gotten vaccinated, please do get vaccinated. But if you have gotten vaccinated, please know that you're not completely immune to this and that the symptoms can be serious still. I hate to think what my experience would have been like if I had gotten it unvaccinated, because, as I said, I was pretty sick, even being fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the vaccine for months. Excuse me. So that's my PSA. I'm going to grab the wedding shawl, which I realize is just out of reach. So hold on one second. Okay, so this is the shawl I knit for my son's wedding. It is the part of Helen Stewart's Shawl Society 5. It is called the Curling Mist Shawl, and it was made out of Plymouth yarn Yakima, 85% merino, 15% yak in the color violet. And it has this, really pretty texture. And the yarn has some variation in color. So even though it was a pretty simple shawl, and it is actually very, very lightweight, it is really very, very wearable. However, best laid plans, this outdoor wedding, which I thought might get sort of chilly in the Berkshires in the evening, actually was rainy, and we were under a tent for the reception, and the air was really, wet and humid, and the shawl had been perfectly blocked. It is a little bit, I don't know that you can tell, but it's kind of curling up a little in places because, there was just so much moisture around, and I didn't really need it to keep warm, but I was glad I had it, and I will always know that this was my wedding shawl. And an update on the shawl I knit for my daughter-in-law. It didn't make an appearance at the wedding, and that did not surprise me. She had a dress that, rather than going sort of in the boho direction, was very chic and glamorous, and the shawl would not have been the right look. And as I said, it was, wet and hot and not something that you would need the shawl for. But to my surprise and delight, the following day at the brunch, she very proudly wore it. It looked gorgeous on her, and I heard her telling everyone that I had made it. And while I didn't need that, and I had made it with the purest of intentions that I wanted her to have it, but I knew that it might not end up being her taste or whatever, even though she kind of okayed the pattern and the yarn. But still, you don't really know, especially when you're not a knitter. And she hadn't figured her wardrobe out yet, because I had to start knitting, because I'm not monogamous and I'm not super fast, so I had to start knitting before she had finalized all of her wardrobe options. So anyway, that's the story with that. And then I have two other finishes that you have not seen even as starts, because it has been 2 months since my last confession, 2 months since my last podcast. So the sad news is they should have been gifted today at a baby shower for my nephew's wife. And unfortunately that was called off because of the pandemic and the high numbers of cases in the city, even though we are all vaccinated, but we now know that there is still danger, and being pregnant and all of that, it just doesn't make sense to push it. So, but I made this little hat, which is a Jared Flood pattern, and I'm sorry that it is in plastic, but I have the world's shaggiest, sheddiest dog, and I did not want to get any fur on the baby items, so they are in plastic. But as you can see, it is this dusty blue color of Quince & Co. Chickadee. It is the color Bird's Egg, and then the accent color is Fjord, and you'll see in the sweater there is more Fjord and less Bird's Egg, and the opposite for the hat, so I just kind of reversed it for fun. I really like some things about this pattern. I hope you can sort of see. It has a really interesting double decrease, which I had not done or seen before, but it makes the hat like sit perfectly flat and really look like a little very, perfect sort of hat. I don't know how to explain it better. It also has a 3-needle bind off at the top, which I'd never done before, but was super easy, and I was super glad to learn that. And then the sweater is a pattern called Carol's Baby Knits Baby's Raglan No Seams. And I don't know, I got to it on Ravelry, but I think it was one of those that the pattern is free on someone's website. And it was a very nice basic baby cardigan. I put on these little rainbowy buttons, and I did all the trim and contrasting in that Bird's Egg color. And I really, really like the way it came out. It is very, very classic, and they are pretty classic. So I didn't want to do anything too funky, and hopefully the rainbow buttons won't have pushed it over the edge for them. So a couple things that I liked about this sweater. There were lots of baby cardigans that I saw and really liked. The problem was many of them had lacy, frilly details that looked super, super girly to me. So while they were like baby cardigans, they really looked like they could only be for girls. I'm just going to take a sip of my water. So I don't know, it's super basic, but I think I kind of jazzed it up with the buttons and with the contrasting trim. It was easy to follow and do, and I could see doing it again. I like the way it came out, and it blocked. This yarn has a lot of great stitch definition, and it blocked really nicely. It was just a really nice, easy pattern and nice effect. So as far as whips, I have too many whips. I have too much yarn, as many of us do. And so I was really trying to go through, and I pulled out the Anthe shawl that I really liked, but, well, I really liked the pattern. I wasn't loving the fabric that was created using the linen quill. The linen quill in the half and half triangle wrap has a really squishy, cool texture to me, and I wasn't getting that same texture in this. And then, I don't know, I'd put it down so long, and I'm sure those of you who aren't monogamous know what happens. You pick it back up and everything seems strange, and even though I really am good about marking where I am, it just didn't really make sense, and I tried a couple times to get back into it, and finally I just plowed ahead and did a row of the chart of the mosaic border and got to the end, and I had 3 extra stitches, and I said that's it. And so that came out. I put the linen quill in my giant linen quill collection, and I thought that at some point, because I love the simple knitting, and I think the half and half triangle wrap, and I'm going to show you mine almost done one. I think that a lot of people, or several people I've seen on different podcasts, of course, the Naughty Knitwits, and I can't remember, Knitters League, I think, Sophia, had done striped versions. And I thought, oh, these are all colors I love, and I love colorful things, so I will do a stripy version where one side is plain and the other includes that color, but then also has all these stripes of other colors. So I think at some point I will do that. But one of the whips that I pulled out was Caitlin Hunter's Sunset Highway, which was one of the first sweaters I tried, and I made a big mistake. So I may have talked about this, I probably have on another podcast, but it's gorgeous, the colors are gorgeous, the pattern is gorgeous, the yarn is gorgeous, but I have these like 3-dimensional things coming up where the color work should be flat, and it looks like in some ways it looks intentional. Like if you didn't know the color work was supposed to be flat, you would think, wow, like this is almost a sculptural knit, or if there is such a thing. But I was horrified because I saw everyone's pretty flat sunset highways, and I couldn't figure out what I'd done wrong until I realized that the yarn I'm using is Madeline Tosh in the work sock, which says, because it says work sock and it says heavy fingering, I thought, well, that's no big deal, but it also says sport weight, and it really is sport weight, it's not fingering. So I ended up using the needle size for fingering, but using a weight of yarn that was really more like sport, and also being new to color work and probably not having long enough floats so that things didn't get bunched up. So anyway, long story short, I decided this thing is just going to get finished. I wasn't planning on doing the color work on the sleeves anyway, as the pattern calls for. I'm just going to do plain sleeves with a cuff, though I probably will do the cuff in one of the other colors. Oh, shoot. Hold on, I just spilled my water, of course. It's been that kind of day. Sorry. Oh. Sorry. Okay. So that's what I was afraid I would do, and of course that's what I did. So I'm just getting the dog out of the way. Okay, so my thought was that I would take one of the other colors that I wanted to bring back, or maybe 2 of the other colors, I'm not sure. Maybe this color, because it has so many other colors in it. That's probably what I'll do, and do the ribbing at the wrist in that. So my thought is that after I get these sleeves done, I will soak this baby for a while and see what happens, see if there's some flattening, and if not, I will say that it's textural design feature or something. And we'll see what happens. So that is gonna get finished, hopefully in time for Houston, some Houston cool weather in months and months and months. And then I'm literally at the very, very, very end of my first half and half triangle wrap, which is done in the linen quill. If anybody hasn't yet heard of this, I think everybody and their aunt and sister and cousin is making one of these. Catty Jackson Knits sort of formalized or, popularized, I guess is a better word, with this shawl from Pearl Soho, this pattern from Pearl Soho with a knit along, and Pearl Soho has this linen quill yarn that is just scrumptious, and I'm doing it in these two really fun colors. I have decided, pretty much decided, not 100% decided. It's, done with short rows, and I only have that much left, so I really have a very short, but the rows are super long now, and I'm not doing a ton of knitting right now, so that needs to get done. I'm thinking that my sister has a big birthday. One of my sisters has a big birthday this year, and she is 14 months younger than I am, so that big birthday that I had last year, she's having. And I thought that she's very knit-worthy. She doesn't do anything craftsy, but she loves the knitted things I've made her. So I thought that her hair is a lot darker than mine, and I just thought it might be really fun for her to have. So that may end up being her birthday present. Okay, so that brings me to other kinds of FOs, and because we had the baby shower, which was supposed to be today, I don't know if I've spoken about this, but I have this little company called Sweet Babe of Mine Designs, which I don't really do anything with other than make gifts for people, but a few times I've sold these. These are burp pads that I've made, which I really love, and they are super practical but super fun. So this is going to my niece, and then my nephew was really into planes, and so they know they're expecting a boy, as I've said, and that is one of the sort of was one of the themes of the shower. So I found this really cool flannel, and I have another colorway of it, and I just made two. One of my favorite things to make for babies are really big, just super easy, I can't even think of the name now, like swaddling blankets, but there's another name that is eluding me. But I just remember them getting really dirty really easily. Baby would just be wrapped in it, and you'd wipe their spit up, or they'd have a messy diaper, and they were just constantly going in the wash. And these should be really rugged because they're made out of flannel, but they also, are really practical and big, and so hopefully they will really like those. So I only have a couple things because I am getting a little short of breath, so I'm gonna just try to finish 3 more things. I will have to get up once more. I'm sorry, so disorganized today. Don't know what is going on. Not good. Apologize. But other kinds of joy besides knitting, I have fallen down the Schmigadoon bandwagon rabbit hole so hard, so badly. It's on Apple TV. If you have not seen it and you are a lover of musicals, go see it. If you hate musicals, you probably won't like it, because really the whole trope of the show is that it is playing on 1940s American Hollywood musicals that were, everything that the world was, racist, sexist, but they were also super silly. People would fall in love in 10 minutes and out of love in 5 minutes, and people had very farcical ideas of what romance and love were, and I am a lover of musicals of all kinds and can never get enough of them, and this was just so much fun. I literally just soaked it in, and I don't usually rewatch something once I've watched it, but I think I may just start at the beginning. There are only 6 episodes, and watch it again. So if you haven't found that yet, it is so much fun, and I highly recommend it if you are a lover of musicals. If not, probably not. This won't be your thing. And then 2 other things. One, I need to step away, but I'll do the other one first. So I haven't done a sharing the joy in a while, and I have been, looking at some of my yarn stash and found these gorgeous Filatura da Crossa Italian yarn. It's called Malazio, and it's 90% wool, 10% acrylic. And it is just in these glorious like fall colors. Actually just a lot of colors, but it would make, I have 3 50-gram balls, and it looks like a kind of a bulky weight. I think it would make a really cool hat, maybe a cowl, maybe used as sort of the color accent with another yarn. So if you are interested in these yarns, I'm happy to send it to you. Knowing me, there'll be something else in the package as well. I will find something fun to add. But they are really, really, really pretty, and are ready for a new home. So write a comment if you want to be in that drawing, and I will pick someone and send those out. And then finally, stashing the joy. There is not yarn at the moment because I've been trying to go through my yarn and fabric and not keep adding to it, instead trying to actually find a new home for some of them. Oh, I'm sorry if the light is really crazy. Let me get this last thing. Okay, so I think I was feeling a little sorry for myself coming back from the wedding with COVID, and it just happened to coincide with one of Hohi's update emails, and I have an extra large Pampa bucket in the gray leather, and I love it, and I traveled with it this summer. But what I really love is hot pink, and she had the hot pink one, and I could not resist. So this is the extra large Pampa bucket, Hohi's gorgeous leather company from Argentina. I know everybody talks about these and has these, and I do have a few now. I have always been a leather lover, and I love these colored leathers especially, but there's something about this bucket for travel that I really, really liked. And so, yeah, did that thing. Okay, guys, thank you for coming back. I would love to grow the subscription a little. This is a teeny tiny podcast, and that's fine. And I have a real job that so I don't do this that often. But if you know anybody or can share this in some way so we might grow it a little bit, that would be really fun. And just thank you for watching. Thank you for coming back. If this is something you've done before, I'm so grateful. And if this is your first time, welcome. This is really a very casual, easy place for people who love knitting, like me. Okay, thank you. Have a great week. I can't believe it's mid-August already. And I will see you when I see you. Happy knitting, and yarn equals joy.